Good morning, friends. Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing all right this morning. Good morning, everybody. How are you doing this morning? Oh, cattywampus today. Everybody's doing all right. Got the peace lily behind me blooming. What a good day. Hey, Vicky, good morning to you. Karen, good morning on this gorgeous day. It is true. It is a beautiful day. Hope everybody's doing. Hope we'll get out and enjoy some of it. That's my hope for you. Mm-hmm. Yesterday was a good day. I worked most of the day, but did manage to find had a nice dinner. So that was great. Thank you for asking. It was my birthday yesterday, so thanks for all the well wishes and the care. So good morning. All right, let's get going this morning. Hey, John, good morning to you. It is the 4th day of June here into a new month, bearing down on summer on this beautiful day here in the city. It is 11:11, and I'm glad you're with us. Glad you're a part of this journey, that each of you may know some beauty in this day. Uh, we just finished up a Bible study on Mark, and one of the more fun conversations that came out of our Bible study was our encounter with the 22nd Psalm of David, where Jesus is on the cross, and he has this moment where he it is, and it's always perceived as he has this moment of, well, weakness, which is this moment of Eloi, Eloi, sabachthani, meaning, why have you forsaken me, O God? So that this idea that the Son is asking the Father the why he has been forsaken, and this is traditionally how this is understood. That this is a sign of Jesus's humanity, or this is kind of some riff within the great Trinity of being that is God. But it's wildly misunderstood. It's wildly misunderstood because it is it is really at its heart not a cry, a rando cry. It is actually song lyrics. It is this beginning of a song. It is then the song is the 22nd Psalm. This is the first line of the 22nd Psalm. If you, and like any song, if you play the first stanza, it's awfully hard to forget the rest of the song, isn't it? If I sing, little ditty about Jack and Diane, like it's already you're already on to the next verse, aren't you? You're already there. You're already with it. And well, that's what was going on with Jesus on the cross. Jesus is not in this place of being, uh, having this conversation with the Father where he has been abandoned. No, no, no. He's quoting. He's actually singing, because no one would ever speak a psalm. He's actually singing on the cross. It's a little Monty Pythonish. That was what somebody came up with in Bible study. The first thing is like, wait a minute, this sounds like Monty Python. It's like, yes, it does. It begins that this incredible moment of God in the world facing the very worst that the world has to offer while singing a victory psalm. Because this is the thing about it about what the 22nd Psalm is that it is a victory psalm. It lays out, it speaks out, but at the end it says that it says because God, the last line of the psalm, which when you sing the first line of a song, you also get the last line of a song because we get an earworm. That's what happens. When Jesus sings this first line, he also gets the last line, which is God has done it. God has overcome hell itself. God has overcome suffering itself. And what more beautiful image than at the moment of receiving the worst punishment one can ever imagine, the greatest pain, and that what becomes our response to that? Well, I'm going to sing a song. To me, it's one of the most encouraging images. And so the question, though, that came up around it that we haven't really get to dig into as much, but I wanted to talk about this morning because I think it enables us to encounter our days. Is, well, why? Now you can come up with the cheap answer, which the cheap answer is, well, because God is God, and because Jesus is God in the world, and God can just do what God wants. God wants to sing in the face of punishment. God can sing in the face of punishment. Now that's an answer, and it's not wrong, but it is kind of cheap. It is kind of like it is just saying, well, God can do it because God's God, and that's okay. That's an answer. But Jesus also can sing in the face of suffering, can sing in the face of the cross, that literally experiencing some of the greatest torture human beings have ever encountered. God can do that because he knows why he's doing that. And that the great Simon Sinek, who's really a brilliant social commentary and leadership consultant and studier of our current plight. He's written a number of books. He's a great speaker, and he wrote a book called The Power. Start with Why. The book is called I was thinking of another book, the Power of Habit, but that's another day. This book called The Start with Why, and it's his instruction to leaders. If you start with why within your organization, tell people why they're doing a thing. It's that they're willing to do a thing. They'll continue to do the thing even when you call them off. They'll continue to do the thing even when you think they don't have any business to do the thing, because they have invested themselves in why they are doing it. Not how they're doing it, not what they were told to do, but why. And that history, in fact, is littered with the power of why, and the power of why we do what we do, and how that has, and the folks who have endured, not just endured great suffering, because this is the thing, we can just talk about it in terms of suffering, and what fun is that, but people who have brought great things into this world have done so because that inevitably the ones who win come out of their powerful sense of why. Why do I get out of bed, put my slippers on in the morning, and head out to do what I do here? And why do I pastor a church? Why do I just come from a staff meeting? Why do I go and visit the sick? Why do I say an invocation at graduation as I did yesterday? Why do I do all the different tasks that are a part of this job, and being a part of this community and helping to try and lead this community? Because I'm invested in why I do it. Because why I do it is when I see community loving each other, when I see a group of people mirroring a little bit of heaven? As I see in our chat, I can see it. I see you all in our chat care for each other every so often in ways that are just unprompted by me and truly beautiful. I see that even though maybe some of you may be separated by hundreds if not thousands of miles, you are prayed for and you're invested in each other's lives. That you wonder where you are if Rosalia doesn't show up. We wonder, everything okay? And that for me, this gets to my why, because if heaven's going to come into this world, or if hell's going to come into this world, it's going to come through us and through the systems and through the communities and through the ways in which we gather and that we care for each other or don't. That's how it's going to get here. It's not going to come. It may start with angels, it may start with demons, but it is going to be us allying ourselves with those powers and those principalities that are going to bring it into our world. And that, for me, that's a little bit of my why. But no matter where you find it, the why always wins. And in fact, I don't think it's an accident that on the cross, Jesus is asking this kind of what essentially is a rhetorical question, oh God, why have thou forsaken me? Because the end of the psalm actually answers it, that in his forsakenness, there's all these horrible things that happen, and yet God overcomes even our moments of forsakenness because we are invested in our why. When the United States was trying to figure out, people in the United States were trying to figure out flight, human flight. There were really two great people who were working on it. One was Sam Pierpont Morgan. Sam Pierpont Morgan was hired by the United States government to figure out how to build flying machines. That was his job. Figure out how to build a flying machine. He was given the full weight and backing of the United States government. He had an unlimited expense account. He had the best scientists and the best minds that knew whatever they knew in early 1900 about flight. They worked and cranked and on trying to create the first flying machines. And then you had two brothers from Ohio, Orville and Wilbur Wright, who understood that the power of what they were working on, and that they believed that if they could figure this out, if they could figure out how to bend canvas and how to shape wood and how to make an engine work in such a way that they could propel human beings through air, they would revolutionize the world, and that it would change everything. It would change not just how people move through the world, but how things move through the world, how things communicate, how we communicated in this world. It would change the entire nature of what it meant to be a human being. And they were so invested in the potential of that transformation for human beings, to no longer be trapped upon the earth, but to soar like Icarus in the sky. They were so passionately invested in this because they saw what it might bring. Sam Pierpont Morgan, he saw dollar signs. He said, this could make a lot of money. And it's already making a lot of money because the government's already given me a lot of money. So he was famous for giving speeches and talking and being out in front and, having his scientists stand behind him that would, and giving these great talks about, all the inventions that they were making. Meanwhile, Wilbur and Orville in their little Ohio bicycle shop were grinding away because they were so passionate and because they believed. They were dragging these lifeless hulks out onto the sands of Kitty Hawk, and they would put them to flight, and they would risk their own lives and even lose their own lives in the process of discovering flight because they understood why they were doing it. They weren't doing it for a paycheck. They weren't doing it for fame and glory. Even for Sam Pierpont Morgan, which is kind of why he was doing it. And that why is always fleeting. It's always going to be a loser. I mean, it might get you started, but it'll never get you finished. What Wilbur and Orville understood, what Jesus understood on the cross, what I try to understand in the work that I do, and what I'm hoping you understand today is that, friends, we are born to be flying machines. We are born to soar with our visions of not how the world is, but how the world might be in the why that God has placed in our heart. Why do we set ourselves on our path to, on our journeys every day? Why do we are we here and to do what we do? Why is it God has called us into being? I don't know why God has called you into being, but I know there is a reason for it. I know it. I've witnessed it in 1,000 souls, and I've seen it in 1,000 others. That it is that your why God has placed you here is the very central question of heaven. And it is the thing that will bring you to all good and truth and beauty. And yeah, it might even bring you to your own cross. It probably will bring you to your own cross. But the thing about crosses, the thing about these greatest torture devices ever created, the thing about the beginning of stories that begin and the beginning of songs that begin with this notion of being abandoned or lost or forsaken, they are stories that end with the grand declaration that God has done it. Friends, my hope is that you will strap into the flying machine of your soul these days, and that you will take flight with the why that God has placed in your life. All right, peace and grace to you, my friends. We will pick it up tomorrow with another 11:11.